Admiral Zhang's fingers trembled as he rewound the final transmission from Earth for the 7th time. Dr. Emily Parker's hologram flickered to life, once more in the center of the Galactic Council's monitoring chamber. The breakthrough in psychic shielding isn't just about defense, her image said, excitement bleeding through her professional demeanor. We've found a way to create recursive quantum fields that could theoretically. The transmission cut mid-sentence, her form dissolving into static before vanishing completely. That was 37 minutes ago. In those minutes, everything had changed. Status report. Zhang barked, his voice carrying across the chaos of the monitoring station. Dozens of alien species worked in frantic concert, their appendages flying across holographic interfaces and neural links. A Proximan analyst, their crystalline form refracting emergency lights, spoke first. All channels dead, Admiral. Not just official frequencies, everything. Personal communications, entertainment broadcasts, automated beacons, even the quantum entanglement arrays have gone silent. Population scan. Lieutenant Rodriguez, one of the few other humans stationed at the facility, shook her head. That's the thing, sir. Earth is still there. Our long-range bioscanners show 8 billion life signs, unchanged. But it's like someone threw a blanket over the whole planet. John crossed to the central display, where Earth's hologram spun serenely. Everything looked normal on the surface. The familiar continents, the sprawl of city lights across the night side, the orbital installations that had become so common in the last decades. But the data streaming alongside the image told a different story. Sir, a new voice cut through the chamber. Commander Brooks, Earth Intelligence Liaison, rushed in with a tablet clutched to his chest. You need to see this. Surveillance footage from the outer system, just before the blackout. The main screen shifted, showing the view from a deep space monitoring satellite. For a moment, everything seemed normal. Then, like a wave of invisible energy, something rippled through space. The effect was subtle, a slight distortion, like heat waves over hot pavement, but it passed through the entire solar system in seconds. Play it again, John ordered, his eyes narrowing. Slower. On the second viewing, he caught what he'd missed. Just before the wave hit, every human installation in view, orbital platforms, ships, satellites, had adjusted their position by precisely 3 degrees. It was coordinated, Brooks said, voicing what they were all thinking. Whatever this is, Earth knew it was coming. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had been part of the galactic community for less than 2 centuries, young enough that some species still called them newcomers. But in that brief time, they'd made themselves indispensable. Their technological innovation rate was unprecedented, their adaptability remarkable. Where other species spent millennia perfecting single technologies, humans seemed to thrive on constant change. And now they were gone. The silence broke as alarms began blaring across multiple stations. Sir, Rodriguez called out, we're getting reports from the trading hubs. The markets are crashing. 30% of all registered patents in the last decade came from Earth. Half the galaxy's supply chains run through Sol's system, without Earth's quantum communication relays. The whole network is fragmenting. The Proximan analyst finished. Systemic collapse in multiple sectors. The ripple effects. Bridge to Admiral Zhang. A new voice crackled through the emergency channel. Sir, we're detecting unusual activity from the Centaurian blockade fleet. They're moving into attack formation. Of course, Zhang thought grimly. The power vacuum. Earth's military presence had helped maintain peace in dozens of disputed regions. How many old conflicts would reignite now that humanity's stabilizing influence was gone? He straightened his uniform, mind racing through scenarios. Get me a channel to the Council. Priority Alpha. And someone find out what happened to our Mars outpost. They're our best chance at understanding what's happening. As his crew scrambled to execute orders, Zhang found his eyes drawn back to the image of Earth. In 2 centuries of space travel, Humanity had encountered wonders and terrors beyond imagination. They'd survived first contact, integrated with galactic society, and reshaped the cosmic order through sheer determination and ingenuity. But nothing in their brief but spectacular history had prepared the galaxy for this. The day Earth went dark, and the silence that followed. Kittle's crystalline appendages trembled as she sealed another memory crystal, her fourth in the past hour. Outside her research pod on Gateway Station, the sounds of chaos echoed through the typically serene corridors. The trading hub's security forces were struggling to contain the panic that had erupted in the wake of Earth's silence. She activated the latest recording from her research archives, and Major Jack Thompson's hologram materialized before her. The human's weathered face bore the easy smile that had initially drawn her to him as a research subject 3 cycles ago. "You're overthinking it again, Call." His recorded voice echoed through her pod. "Humans don't advance through careful planning like the Rigelians. We stumble forward, fall on our faces, get up, and somehow end up further ahead than if we'd mapped everything out." The recording had been taken just 2 weeks before the darkness fell. Thompson had been explaining humanity's peculiar approach to technological development, but now his words carried a heavier weight. "Computer, timestamp analysis," Kittle commanded, her crystalline form refracting the hologram's light. The data stream showed that Thompson's neural patterns during the conversation had displayed unusual spikes, patterns she'd originally attributed to his typical human enthusiasm. A crash outside her pod drew her attention. Through the transparent walls, she watched a group of Centaurian merchants arguing with a Proximan trade delegate. "Earth owes us 60,000 quantum processors," one shouted. "Our entire manufacturing sector will collapse without their neural interface components." Kittle's outer crystal layers vibrated with anxiety. As the galaxy's premier xenanthropologist studying human behavior, she should have seen this coming. The signs had been there. Subtle changes in human trading patterns, increased research into temporal mechanics, and the cryptic chess metaphor Thompson had shared during their last meeting. She activated another memory crystal. This one showed Thompson standing before a star chart, his expression unusually serious. "Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology, Kittle. It's our ability to see patterns in chaos. Where other species see random noise, we see hidden order. Sometimes that gift is a curse. We see threats others can't imagine." A priority alert flashed across her communication crystal. The Galactic Council was convening an emergency session. As she prepared to transmit her research findings, a hidden subroutine activated in her database. Thompson's final message, encoded in her research files, began playing. "If you're seeing this, Katal, it means Project Darkstar has begun. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you more, but some patterns are too dangerous to share. Humanity isn't retreating. We're preparing. The galaxy sees us as reckless children, but that perspective has always been our greatest advantage." Kittle's crystalline form pulsed with revelation as she cross-referenced thousands of research hours. Humanity's seemingly chaotic development hadn't been random at all. Each technological leap, each surprising innovation, had been building toward something. Security breach in Section 7. The station's AI announced. Multiple trading algorithms compromised. Market stabilization failing. Through her pod's walls, Tull watched the station's carefully maintained order crumble. Humanity had integrated themselves so thoroughly into galactic civilization that their absence was tearing apart the fabric of interstellar society. Trading systems designed to rely on Earth's quantum networks were failing. Scientific projects dependent on human intuitive leaps stood frozen. Military alliances balanced on human diplomacy began to fracture. She accessed her secure channel to the council chambers. "This is Senior Researcher Katal. Priority message for the emergency session. Subject: Predicted human behavioral patterns in crisis scenarios." As she waited for acknowledgement, she reviewed Thompson's chess metaphor one final time. In human chess, the queen was the most powerful piece, just as Earth had become the galaxy's technological powerhouse. But in the most brilliant games, sacrificing the queen was sometimes necessary to achieve victory. The question that burned through her crystalline consciousness was simple. What game were the humans playing? And what victory did they see coming that the rest of the galaxy couldn't? Her communication crystal chimed with the Council's response. As Catal prepared to share her insights, she couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's apparent chaos had been deliberate all along. They hadn't just been advancing. They'd been preparing. And now, in the silence they'd created, the galaxy was about to discover why. Commander Ashley Walker stood at the helm of the stellar Voyager, her eyes fixed on the impossible sight before her. Earth hung in space like a jewel wrapped in shifting layers of opalescent energy, each layer moving independently of the others. The effect was hypnotic, and completely beyond any known human capabilities. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the tension thrumming through the bridge. Her Centaurian science officer, First Specialist 6, made a sound like breaking glass, their species equivalent of disbelief. "Commander, these readings, they defy our understanding of physics. The energy field appears to be operating on at least 7-dimensional planes simultaneously." Walker moved to Zix's station, studying the cascade of data flowing across their crystalline display. The Joint Species Task Force had been assembled from the finest chips and minds in the galaxy, yet nothing in their combined experience could explain what they were seeing. "Focus our quantum sensors on the orbital defense platforms," she ordered. The massive installations had been humanity's pride, their answer to being the youngest spacefaring race. Now they hung silent, their surfaces shimming with the same ethereal energy that encased Earth. Lieutenant Commander Hayes, her tactical officer, spoke up from his station. "Ma'am, I'm detecting minimal power signatures from the platforms, but they're different, like they've been completely rebuilt at the molecular level." "Different how?" "It's as if someone took our most advanced technology and evolved it 1,000 years overnight." Hayes paused, his fingers dancing across his console. "And there's something else. The platforms aren't dead. They're watching us." Walker felt a chill run down her spine. She'd served alongside humans her entire career, commanded this ship for 7 years. But this was beyond anything they'd ever achieved, or admitted to achieving. "Commander." The urgency in Zix's voice drew everyone's attention. "New readings from Mars. There's a city there." The main view screen shifted, showing the red planet. Where there should have been only research outposts and mining operations, a sprawling metropolis dominated the Valles Marineris. Massive environmental domes stretched across the canyon, their surfaces displaying the same shifting energy patterns as Earth. "That's impossible," Hayes whispered. "We didn't have the capability to build something like that. The latest surveys showed nothing on that scale." Walker's mind raced. As leader of the investigation fleet, she had access to classified human development reports. Nothing had suggested this level of technological advancement. Nothing had even hinted at it. "Signal from Mars, Commander," her communications officer announced. "Text only, quantum encrypted. They're using our old emergency protocols." On screen. The message was brief. "Approach vector provided. Follow exactly. Deviation will be considered hostile action. Earth is safe. Answers await. Mars forward command." Walker studied the coordinates. The specified path would take them through a complex series of gravitational points, almost like a combination lock made of space itself. She recognized the underlying mathematics. It was human design philosophy, but evolved, refined to an art form. "Orders, Commander," Hayes asked. Before she could respond, new data flooded their sensors. The energy field around Earth pulsed, and for a brief moment, their instruments caught a glimpse of what lay beneath. The planet's surface was transformed. Massive structures reached into the upper atmosphere. Cities had been rebuilt into forms that defied conventional architecture, and the oceans themselves seemed to have been reshaped. They didn't run. Walker breathed, realization dawning. They didn't hide. They evolved. She straightened in her command chair, decision made. "Send acknowledgement to Mars Command. Alert the fleet. We follow their path exactly. No deviations. As the stellar Voyager moved into position, Walker couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't just investigating Earth's silence. They were witnessing the unveiling of something that would reshape their understanding of what humanity was truly capable of. Behind her, Zix made another sound, this one like crystal under stress. "Commander, these energy patterns, they're not just technology. They're preparation. Whatever humanity did this for, they were getting ready for something." Walker nodded grimly. "The question is, what could be so significant that an entire species would choose to transform itself overnight?" The answer, she suspected, waited for them on Mars. And somehow, she knew it would change everything. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Dr. Michael Harrison's hologram materialized in the center of the vast circular space. His image was crystal clear, a feat that shouldn't have been possible through Mars's makeshift quantum relay. The director of Mars Forward Operations stood tall, his weathered face bearing the weight of secrets about to be revealed. "Distinguished members of the Council," Harrison began, his voice resonating with unexpected authority. "I understand you have questions about Earth's apparent disappearance. Before I explain, I want you to look at something." With a gesture, he conjured another hologram, a visualization of space-time itself. Countless points of light represented the galaxy's civilizations, interconnected by trade routes and quantum communication networks. Then, one by one, dots began to vanish. Entire civilizations winking out of existence without warning or trace. "This isn't a simulation," Harrison continued as gasps echoed through the chamber. "These are historical records we discovered, hidden in the background radiation of space itself. Records of civilizations that existed, thrived, and vanished completely. No ruins, no artifacts, no survivors. Just empty space where life once flourished." High Counselor Vex of the Proximant Collective rose from her crystalline seat. "Impossible. Our astronomers would have detected." "No, they wouldn't," Harrison interrupted gently. "Your scientists, like most advanced species, look for patterns you understand. Humanity's greatest gift, and perhaps our greatest curse, is seeing patterns others can't, or won't." The hologram shifted, showing Earth encased in its mysterious energy field. Project Darkstar wasn't an act of aggression or fear. It was preparation. Earth hasn't been attacked or conquered. We chose to step outside of normal space-time to give ourselves the time we needed. The chamber erupted in overlapping questions and demands. Harrison waited patiently until senior researcher Ctal's voice cut through the chaos. "Time you needed for what, Director Harrison?" "To evolve." Harrison's hologram stepped forward, his expression intense. "What you're seeing around Earth isn't a barrier, it's a crucible. We've created a temporal acceleration field, allowing us to compress centuries of development into months of external time." He gestured again, and new images appeared. The transformed cities of Mars, the rebuilt orbital platforms, technological marvels that seemed to defy physics itself. This was just the prototype, our proof of concept. "Earth," he paused, pride and concern mingling in his voice. "Earth is undergoing changes we can barely comprehend ourselves." "Why?" The question came from Commander Walker, attending via quantum link from the stellar Voyager. "Why take such an extreme step?" Harrison's expression darkened. "Because something is coming. Something that has ended civilizations far more advanced than our own. We call it the Void Cascade, a phenomenon that doesn't just destroy worlds, it erases them from existence itself." The chamber fell silent again, but this time with a heavy weight of terror. Harrison continued, his voice gentle but firm. "We tried to warn the Council months ago, but our evidence was dismissed as paranoid pattern-seeking from a young species, so we made a choice." The hologram expanded, showing the entire Sol system. "Earth isn't hiding. We're transforming ourselves into what we need to be to face this threat. The Void Cascade isn't just coming for us, it's coming for every species in this galaxy, and we refuse to stand by and watch it happen." "How long?" Cull asked, her crystalline form vibrating with tension. The cascade will reach the galaxy's edge in 3 years, Harrison replied. But don't despair. Where we've gone, in the accelerated space we've created, we have centuries to prepare, to develop, to become what we need to be. He straightened, his hologram somehow seeming more solid, more present. Earth went dark not in retreat, but in dedication to a promise. Humanity joined this galactic community as equals, and we will not abandon our allies to face extinction. When the time comes, Earth will return, and we will be ready. The hologram flickered once, then stabilized. The Mars facility remains in normal space as our anchor point and communication hub. Commander Walker's fleet will be granted access to observe our progress. The rest of you, prepare your people. Humanity went into darkness to find the light that will save us all. As Harrison's image faded, he left behind one final message floating in the chamber center. Sometimes the darkness isn't your enemy. Sometimes it's where you forge yourself into something stronger. Lieutenant Jessica Barnes's classified reports projected above the council chamber, each holographic page turning automatically as the gathered representatives absorbed humanity's darkest discovery. Her voice, recorded weeks before Earth's transformation, carried an urgency that made even the eldest council members shift uncomfortably in their seats. The Void Cascade isn't just another cosmic phenomenon. Her recording explained stellar maps and complex equations floating around her image. It's intelligent, or at least it behaves with purpose. We first noticed it in the empty spaces, the places where stars should be but weren't. The display shifted to show a region of space that appeared normal at first glance. Then, as the overlay of human pattern recognition algorithms activated, a chilling order emerged. The emptiness wasn't random. It formed a perfect spiral of destruction, moving through the galaxy with mathematical precision. Most species look for obvious signs of catastrophe, Barnes continued, her hands manipulating the display to zoom in on particular sectors. Radiation signatures, gravitational disturbances, debris fields. But the cascade doesn't leave evidence. It removes it. It's like a cosmic editor, deleting entire civilizations from the universe's story. High Counselor Vex interrupted the playback. This is absurd. Our scientists have studied these regions for millennia. They're simply areas of natural stellar scarcity. Kittle's crystalline form pulsed with disagreement. Play the human probability analysis, she requested. The hologram shifted again, this time showing a timeline of stellar development. Barnes's voice returned. We mapped every known natural process that could create these empty regions. The probability of them forming this precise pattern naturally is effectively zero, but that's not what convinced us of the threat. The display zoomed out, revealing a larger pattern that made several council members recoil. The spiral of emptiness wasn't random. It was moving with purpose, following a path that would eventually lead straight to the heart of inhabited space. We tried to calculate its arrival using conventional physics, Barnes explained. But the cascade doesn't follow normal rules of space-time. It moves like a thought moving through a mind, not bound by light speed or conventional causality. Commander Walker, still observing from the stellar Voyager near Mars, spoke up. Lieutenant Barnes, your report mentioned something called echo signatures. Can you elaborate? The hologram split, showing Barnes's face on one side and complex wave patterns on the other. That's where we got lucky. While the cascade erases physical evidence, it leaves quantum echoes, patterns in probability itself. Most species' quantum computers aren't chaotic enough to detect them. They're too orderly. She smiled slightly. But humans, we built quantum computers that embrace chaos. Our neural networks thrive on uncertainty. That's how we found the fragments, the quantum whispers of civilizations that no longer exist. The chamber darkened as a new visualization appeared. Fragments of alien architecture, glimpses of impossible technologies, echoes of worlds that had been erased from existence. Each image was reconstructed from quantum probability states that only human computers could interpret. Some of these civilizations were far more advanced than any current species, Barnes continued. They had technologies we can barely comprehend, but they all fell to the cascade. Know why? Because they tried to fight it with order, with predictability, with the very things it consumes. High Counselor Vex's crystalline form dimmed. And you believe humanity's chaos is the answer. We know it is. Barnes's image straightened. Every civilization that fell shared one trait. They approached problems with logical, orderly solutions. But the cascade isn't logical. It's not orderly. It's a paradox given form. And you can't fight a paradox with reason. The display showed one final image, Earth, as it had appeared just before activating Project Darkstar. That's why we had to change. Not just our technology, our entire way of existing. The temporal acceleration field isn't just giving us time to build better weapons. It's letting us evolve into something new, something that can face the impossible by becoming impossible ourselves. As the recording ended, Barnes's final words echoed through the chamber. You see stability where we see stagnation. You see chaos where we see potential. That difference might just save us all. The council chamber remained silent long after the hologram faded, each representative contemplating a threat they hadn't known existed, and the young species that had chosen to transform itself to fight it. Colonel Ryan Davidson stood at Lunar Command's observation deck, watching reality tear itself apart. The barrier around Earth wasn't simply disappearing. It was unfolding like a cosmic flower, each layer revealing new dimensions of space-time as it peeled away. 3 years of normal time had passed for the galaxy. For Earth, it had been centuries. Status report, he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of generations lived in accelerated time. Sir, quantum sensors are registering everything. Lieutenant Sarah Cooper responded, her augmented eyes scanning streams of data. The transformation is complete. We're receiving confirmation from all Earth-side command centers. Davidson nodded, remembering the day they'd entered the temporal acceleration field. He'd been a young captain then, chosen to help coordinate the lunar observation post. Now, after subjective decades inside the field's influence, his hair had grayed, and his eyes held the knowledge of countless breakthroughs and revelations. Alert the Galactic Council, he ordered. It's time they saw what humanity has become. The transformation of Earth was beyond anything the galaxy's finest minds had imagined possible. Cities had evolved into living organisms of crystal and light, reaching into the upper atmosphere. The oceans pulsed with engineered bioluminescence, each wave carrying more computational power than entire alien civilizations. The planet's core itself had been restructured, turned into a quantum forge that defied conventional physics. Sir, Cooper's voice cracked with urgency. The Centaurian Defense Fleet, they're charging weapons. Davidson smiled slightly. Of course they were. The sight of Earth's metamorphosis would trigger every threat response protocol in their databases. Open a channel. All frequencies, all languages simultaneously. He straightened his uniform, redesigned over centuries of accelerated time to incorporate technology that looked like simple fabric but could deflect energy weapons. This is Colonel Ryan Davidson of Earth Combined Command. Stand down your weapons. What you're seeing isn't an attack. It's evolution. The main display showed dozens of alien vessels, their weapons hot but holding position. From his vantage point on the moon, Davidson could see their confusion. The Earth they'd known, the young, chaotic, barely contained bundle of potential, had emerged from its chrysalis as something else entirely. Receiving priority transmission from the stellar Voyager, Cooper announced. Commander Walker is requesting verification protocols. Send them the quantum key, Davidson replied. Let them see everything. The key wasn't just a security measure. It was a glimpse into what humanity had achieved. Each bit of data contained engineering principles that would revolutionize alien science, wrapped in mathematical proofs that would reshape their understanding of reality itself. Colonel, a new voice called out. Dr. Rachel Martinez, their chief physicist, rushed onto the observation deck. The stellar readings are confirmed. The void cascade has entered the galaxy's outer rim. We completed the transformation just in time. Davidson turned to face the assembled crew, each member bearing the marks of centuries lived in accelerated time. Some had chosen biological enhancements, their bodies incorporating crystalline structures that channeled quantum energy. Others had merged with artificial systems, becoming living interfaces between human intuition and machine precision. "Send the signal to Earth Command," he ordered. "Begin the revelation sequence. It's time to show our allies what we've prepared for them." Across Earth's surface, massive structures began to activate. Cities transformed into defense platforms, oceans shifted to reveal hidden installations, and the very atmosphere came alive with swarms of nanoscale defenders. But these weren't just weapons. They were gifts designed to be shared, to help other species survive what was coming. "Sir," Cooper's voice was quiet now. "We're receiving a message from High Counselor Vex. They're asking what we've become." Davidson watched as Earth continued its transformation, each moment revealing new wonders and capabilities. "Tell them this. We've become what the galaxy needs. We didn't hide in darkness. We mastered it. Time flows differently where we've been, and we used every second to prepare not just ourselves, but everyone." As if in response, Earth pulsed with inner light. Each city a beacon of impossible technology. Each ocean a computer beyond comprehension. Each human mind expanded and evolved to face the impossible. They had gone into darkness as a young species, barely understanding their own potential. They had emerged as something new, something ready. Captain Olivia Martinez stood at the helm of the Starcaster, humanity's first consciousness-integrated vessel, as reality itself bent around them. The void cascade wasn't just approaching. It was reaching, probing, testing their defenses with tendrils of anti-existence that made normal space shiver. "All stations, Battle Protocol Echo 7. She commanded, her neural interface translating thought into action faster than words could travel. The ship, as much a part of her now as her own limbs, responded instantly, its quantum architecture shifting to match her intent. Multiple contact points, Lieutenant Commander James Chen reported, his augmented consciousness merging with the ship's sensor array. "The cascade is adapting to our presence. It's never encountered resistance before." Martinez watched through both human eyes and quantum sensors as the enemy revealed itself. The void cascade manifested as holes in reality, perfect spheres of nothingness that consumed light, matter, and even probability itself. But now, for the first time in its existence, it faced an opponent that understood its nature. "Launch the probability anchors," she ordered. Across Earth's transformed surface, massive generators activated, their power drawn from the quantum-forged planetary core. They didn't fight the cascade with energy or matter. They fought it with possibility itself, forcing reality to remain stable through sheer human stubbornness given form. The Galactic Council's combined fleet hung back, their most advanced weapons useless against this impossible enemy. But they weren't idle. Human engineers had spent subjective centuries preparing upgrades for their allies. Now, guided by Earth's quantum networks, alien vessels began their own transformations. "First wave of cascade entities approaching," Chen announced. They're trying to erase our timeline." Martinez smiled grimly. "They don't understand yet. Show them why we chose chaos." The Starcaster's systems executed her command, launching weapons that didn't destroy. They created. Each missile split reality into multiple quantum states. Each energy beam generated new timelines. Where the cascade sought to erase existence, humanity answered by making existence too robust to erase. Captain Dr. Sarah Williams, their quantum physicist, called from her station. "The cascade is changing tactics. It's never done this before. It's learning." "Good," Martins responded, her augmented mind calculating possibilities faster than any computer. "That means it can be taught. All ships, execute pattern Omega. Show it why humanity embraces chaos. Earth's defensive fleet moved in perfect asymmetry, each ship following patterns that looked random but contained deep, recursive order. They didn't avoid the Cascades attacks. They transformed them, using human-developed quantum technology to turn deletion into creation. The battle unfolded across dimensions human minds had never been meant to perceive, but humanity had evolved, transformed themselves into beings that could comprehend the impossible. Each crew member was a hybrid of flesh and quantum technology. Their consciousness expanded to understand realities that their ancestors couldn't have imagined. Void entities attempting to establish null points, Chen reported. They're trying to create permanent deletion zones. Martinez channeled more power through her neural interface, feeling the ship respond like an extension of her will. Deploy the entropy inverters. Let's show them what we learned in the dark. Across the battlefield, human vessels released clouds of engineered quantum particles, each one containing patterns of chaos so complex they generated their own pocket universes. Where the Cascade tried to enforce emptiness, humanity answered with an abundance of existence. It's working, Williams exclaimed. The Cascade entities, they're not just being repelled, they're being transformed. Martinez watched through multiple layers of perception as their greatest weapons took effect. Not the technology they'd developed, but the very thing that made them human. Their ability to see patterns in chaos, to find order in randomness, and to force reality itself to accommodate their determination. All ships, press the advantage, she commanded. Show them why humanity doesn't just survive chaos. We thrive in it. The battle raged across space and probability, human ingenuity facing off against cosmic entropy. And slowly, impossibly, humanity's chaos began to overcome the Cascade's void. They didn't just fight the darkness, they filled it with light, with possibility, with the desperate, determined creativity that had always been their greatest strength. Captain, Chen's voice carried a note of awe. The Cascade is retreating. It's never retreated before. Martinez stood at her post, human and more than human, watching as the impossible enemy faced something it had never encountered in all its eons of existence, a species that didn't just accept chaos, but had mastered it. Commander David Anderson stood before the Galactic Council, his enhanced consciousness processing the quantum streams of data that now flowed through every corner of civilized space. The last barriers around Earth had fallen, revealing a world transformed not just by technology, but by a fundamental reimagining of what was possible. The Void Cascade has retreated beyond the galaxy's edge, he reported, his words carrying the weight of victory and change. But more importantly, we've learned to transform its energy. What once threatened to erase existence now powers the quantum networks that unite our civilizations. High Counselor Vex's crystalline form shimmered with renewed energy, a gift of human quantum engineering. You didn't just defeat it, she observed. You changed its fundamental nature. Anderson nodded, remembering the centuries of accelerated time, the generations of humanity that had lived and evolved inside Earth's temporal field. That was always our goal. Not destruction, but transformation. The same way we transformed ourselves. The chamber's holographic displays showed Earth as it now existed. A planet where cities breathed, where oceans computed, where every human mind was expanded beyond the boundaries of traditional consciousness. But more impressive than the technological marvels were the changes they'd brought to the galaxy itself. When we went dark, Anderson continued, many assumed we were retreating. Some thought we were preparing for war. The truth was both simpler and more complex. We were becoming what the galaxy needed. He gestured, and new images appeared. Alien worlds incorporating human quantum technology, species learning to expand their consciousness through engineered chaos, civilizations transforming themselves just as humanity had done. The Void Cascade taught us something vital, he explained. The universe doesn't favor order over chaos, or simplicity over complexity. It favors adaptation, evolution, and the courage to become something new. Ketel, her crystalline form now integrated with human quantum systems, spoke up. You knew this would happen. Not just the victory, but the transformation of all species. Anderson smiled, remembering Major Thompson's chess metaphor from what felt like eons ago. We hoped. Humanity's greatest strength was never our technology or our determination, though those helped. It was our ability to see patterns others couldn't, to embrace chaos others feared, and to share what we learned. The chamber's quantum field rippled as representatives from across the galaxy shared their experiences. Stories of worlds saved, civilizations uplifted, and barriers broken flowed through the network. Humanity hadn't just survived the darkness. They had mastered it and turned it into a gift for all. The barriers are down, Anderson announced, but that doesn't mean we've stopped evolving. Earth remains a crucible of innovation, a place where the impossible becomes probable through sheer human stubbornness and creativity. He paused, letting his enhanced senses take in the quantum symphony of a unified galaxy. We went dark not to hide, but to become something new. Now we invite all species to join us in that evolution. The Void Cascade was just the beginning. There are more wonders and challenges waiting in the darkness between stars. Commander Walker, her consciousness now spanning both her original form and her transformed vessel, added her voice to the discussion. We've opened paths that even we don't fully understand. The question is, who will walk them with us? The answer came not in words, but in waves of quantum resonance as species after species signaled their commitment to this new path. The galaxy was transforming, not through force or fear, but through the shared desire to explore what was possible. When Earth went dark, Anderson concluded, we heard your fears, your doubts, your accusations. Now we offer not just explanations, but possibilities. We became something new in the darkness, but that was just the first step. The real journey, the exploration of what consciousness, civilization, and reality itself can become, that journey belongs to all of us. The quantum network pulsed with agreement, carrying the combined hopes and dreams of countless species. Earth had gone dark to face a cosmic horror, but it had emerged with something greater than victory. It had found a way to turn darkness into light, entropy into creation, and fear into possibility. The dawn that followed wasn't just the end of a crisis. It was the beginning of something entirely new, something that would carry all species together into a future brighter than any single civilization could have imagined alone.